My name is Sondra Ridley and I'm an account manager here at ABS Technology. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about network security, but more specifically, ransomware. As you might have heard in the recent news, a ransomware attack affected many healthcare institutions in the United Kingdom and even some organizations here in the United States. Ransomware is a malicious type of attack that goes after your business critical data and holds it for ransom in exchange for payment in Bitcoin, which is essentially a type of internet currency. How ransomware works, it will typically come in through an email form with some sort of attachment or link. Then, once one of those have been clicked or downloaded, it will then communicate with what's called Command Central, where the rest of that ransomware attack is being housed. It's essentially an IP address or web address. Once that communication has been made, it will send the remainder of that attack to your device, starting its ransomware attack. This can cripple your business. It can bring your day-to-day operations to a screeching halt and cost you time, money, and maybe even your reputation. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about Cisco and ABS's multi-layer security approach and how our professional services can help implement this into your organization to help attacks like this from happening to you. Now, I'm actually going to use a pretty common example, starting with remote users. So here we are on a Sunday. I am on my PC at home, and I don't know about you, but I answer a couple emails trying to get geared up for the next Monday morning. Now, this is where our first solution is going to come into play. As you might recall, I said ransomware is going to come in through email, so we're going to recommend an email security appliance, also known as an ESA. This is what an ESA will look like. So, as you can see, it doesn't even really matter if you're connected directly into your network. Your ESA is going to be working, helping protect your corporate email, regardless of your location. It's actually going to use an advanced threat detection technology to help filter that incoming messages and sensitive outbound data. So, if that ransomware tries to come through your corporate email, your ESA is going to catch it and not let it be deliverable. Well, let's just say that ransomware has gotten pretty tricky nowadays, and we've actually seen a lot of occurrences where it's coming through your Gmail account. Well, I don't know about you, but a lot of organizations are not protecting everyone's personal email as well as the corporate. So unfortunately, your ESA isn't really going to stop that ransomware in this situation. That's why we recommend Cisco Umbrella. Cisco Umbrella is going to protect every single device in your environment, regardless of its location. It's actually going to filter and redirect the traffic up to Cisco's DNS server, which is essentially a glorified phone book of IP addresses or web addresses. If it's a known ransomware attack and they locate that ransomware from traveling from one of those known locations, it's going to stop that from reaching your device and you're going to be protected. Well, let's say for instance that this solution is just not 100% sound, just for argument's sake. So this sneaky little ransomware went around your ESA and slipped through the cracks of Umbrella. In that situation, we're going to recommend AMP, which is Advanced Malware Protection for Endpoints. Now, we recommend that AMP be put on every computer, server, and device in your environment. It's an application that's going to look for file-based malicious behavior. And if that ransomware is searching through your files being housed on your servers, looking for that business critical data, AMP is going to find it and stop it from being able to access it. So, you seem pretty safe, but let's make things interesting. Let's say this is a day zero attack. And essentially what that means is it's a ransomware attack that has never ever before been seen in the world. It's day zero. So, your ESA, regardless if it even comes through your Gmail or your corporate email, isn't going to stop it. Your Umbrella can't identify the IP or web address as ransomware, so it's not going to stop it. And AMP isn't even going to identify it either. So you click this link, you download that attachment, and then ransomware connects with Command Central and begins sending the rest of that attack to your device. The funny thing about ransomware is it doesn't tell you once it started its attack, so you shut down thinking nothing of it, no problem. Now, let's see what Monday has to offer. As you can see, I drew a simplified version of a network diagram. So you've got your external traffic, everything in the internet. You've got your firewall, which is essentially a perimeter-based security defined by a set of rules defined by your organization. Your switching infrastructure that's creating the network and allowing end users to access it. And then you've got your servers, which are housing your important data and any other applications you might be running. So, for argument's sake, you come in the morning, you get your coffee, you get your breakfast, and you sit down. The first thing you're going to want to do is probably connect to the network, right? Well, that's why we recommend ICE. It's not going to protect against ransomware, but it's really important. I'll tell you why. It stands for Identity Services Engine. Essentially, it's going to identify any end user that's trying to gain access to the network and see if it's authorized. It's based on authorization credentials. Do we know you? Are you allowed on? And if any updates or patching has been completed, that's required by the organization. So, if I'm an authorized user, hi, Sondra, I can get on, and I've done all my patching, nothing out of the ordinary, the customer support team here keeps me pretty good in check. Then I can connect right into that network, and ICE can't stop me. And you know what? ICE isn't looking for ransomware, so that ransomware is starting to spread. That's why we recommend pairing ICE with Stealth Watch. Now, Stealth Watch is going to sit inside your network, constantly monitoring any malicious traffic. Now, say that ransomware is known and Stealth Watch can identify it, it's going to actually work alongside ICE to kick that device off the network. That way, the ransomware doesn't spread. Additionally, because it's constantly monitoring, if there was any type of spread of that ransomware, it's going to find it in any other area of your network and kick those devices off the network as well, so they don't go after your business critical data. Pretty awesome. So, we've gone through this, but like we mentioned earlier, this was a day 0 attack over here on Sunday, so just depending on timing, Stealth Watch may or may not be able to identify it, which is why we highly recommend this solution. And it's going to be AMP for endpoints. Again, you're probably wondering to yourself, Sondra, you had me put AMP over here on my computer. Why is it suddenly going to start working over here on my server if it didn't catch the ransomware over there? And I'm going to tell you why. It's actually going to be Cisco secret sauce. Talos. Talos is a team of Cisco engineers that communicate 24/7 with every Cisco security device in the world. Now, the cool benefit of Talos is you get this just for being a Cisco security customer. It's like a free little add-on. And they actually identify 6 times more threats than there are Google searches every single day. That is crazy. So, on Sunday, day 0, by the time this ransomware came through on your device, Talos and the team of engineers actually identified it. So, then they went and updated every other Cisco security device in the world, including yours. So, they updated your ESA. They updated Umbrella. They updated your AMP. They updated your ICE. They updated your firewall, your Stealth Watch, and this AMP again. So it stops ransomware in its tracks. Pretty cool. So you might be thinking to yourself, Sondra, do I really need all of this just to prevent from some ransomware attack? Maybe, but I do want to point something out first. You might have noticed I introduced the firewall, but in this specific ransomware attack, it didn't even come into play. It provided no layer of security because the actual attack was introduced from inside the network. End user right over here, hello? So, you can't really rely on just your firewall to protect your entire environment. So we really recommend you take a look at what we've discussed today and identify the gaps in your own network security. Contact your ABS account manager and let's have a conversation. I know that I always recommend everybody starts with Cisco Umbrella. Like I mentioned, it's going to protect every device in your network regardless of its location because it's filtering the traffic that's coming through. Now, if you pair it with ABS's managed services, it's pretty much no-brainer because we'll be managing it for you. So give us a call, let's see what we can do, and let's keep your data safe. Thanks again.